Hello YouTubers, my name is Frederick Lopez, and yes, 2017 has come to a close. There have been many great films this year, as well as many disappointing, horrible, and just underwhelming films in general. It's been kind of a lackluster movie year, so to speak. And I just wanted to reflect on my personal favorite films of the year that I have seen so far. And The Disaster Artist is not showing in my theater at my hometown, so it's bullshit, it's not showing. Horrible Tommy Wiseau impersonation, but that would be included in my top 10. I just have not seen it yet, so I don't know the placement. But definitely I know that looks like an interesting movie, and that definitely would be in my top 10. To start off, honorable mentions: It, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Spider-Man Homecoming, Valerian, A City of a Thousand Planets, and Get Out. Those are great movies. I enjoyed them, but I just couldn't place them in my top 10 compared to the other ones. Get Out is a well-crafted horror film. I just thought it was a bit overrated, and some of the twists I did see coming, while some other ones came as a big surprise. But it's a well-crafted film. It's just not among my favorite compared to the others on the list. As far as worst film this year, I would probably have to say The Dark Tower was pretty disappointing and just really horrible compared to the novels. That was such a big letdown with the editing and just everything else. And the fact that it's PG-13 and did not follow the books whatsoever. Even if it was a sequel, there's certain inconsistencies with the novels. That has to be my least favorite film of the year. An underwhelming film would be Beauty and the Beast. That was an enjoyable film for what it was, but compared to the animated film, it was just totally underwhelming. And as far as my disappointments this year, I have to say Alien Covenant, Star Wars The Last Jedi, and Justice League were massive disappointments to me. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, here are my top 10 personal favorite films of this year. Again, I haven't seen all the films this year, and my opinion may differ from yours, so if you disagree with this list or have a different list, feel free to share yours in the comments below. Number 10 on my list is American Made. I really love this film with Tom Cruise. This made up for the abysmal film The Mummy this year. Tom Cruise finally felt like he was playing another role besides Tom Cruise, even though you saw some of the same stuff from his other films in this one. Doug Liman's direction was really well done in this. He had a lot of energy to this film in this 1980s drug culture. And I really liked it. It kind of went to his early work in Swingers and a little bit of the Bourne Identity in some ways, but a bit more of a comedic, kind of cocaine-driven film. It was definitely a breath of fresh air, and it was a very different film than any other film I saw this year or any other Tom Cruise films I've seen recently. This felt like his earlier stuff from the late 80s and early 90s. Number 9 on my list is a funny satire that's really a kid's film, but pretty intelligent, is Lego Batman the Movie. Oh my god, the Lego Batman movie is fantastic. For any Batman fan out there, this film is for you, and the more you know about Batman, the better it is. Not only that, it gets on certain themes and messages that the live-action films don't go over or just cannot. He's afraid to have a family, he's afraid to let anybody come close, and it really gets to some deep emotional issues with the character that's not really fully explored in live action. Besides that, I like Will Arnett and Michael Cera's voice work. The voice work is fantastic. The animation's done very well. Soundtrack fantastic. Lego Batman is just an enjoyable movie that puts a smile on your face. I love Lego Batman the movie. Such a funny movie, and I really can't wait to see what they do in the future. Number 8 on my list is John Wick Chapter 2. This is an adrenaline rush from beginning to end. A very well done action sequel. Maybe a bit too much action compared to the original, but where it lacks in story, it sure as hell makes up for in action, and you see what happens when you stab the devil in the back. Baba Yaga returns. Keanu Reeves is just amazing and perfect as John Wick. Common's added to this, and just the choreography and the soundtrack, just everything with this movie just ups the ante. The mirror hall scene at the end is just insane. It has some really, really great action. Probably the best action I've seen this decade among The Raid and the first John Wick movie. Yeah, John Wick 2 is just a blast from beginning to end that I kind of feel has been a little bit forgotten about this year with all the other films. John Wick Chapter 2 is such a great action film that I can't wait to see where they go with Part 3. It's definitely up there. It's better than Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, but it's probably up there with Matrix Reloaded as far as a Keanu Reeves sequel. We get to see him and Lawrence Fishburne reunite. Overall, it's a solid sequel to John Wick. Number 7 on my list is Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. This was a fantastic film. I only recently saw this. I didn't see it in theaters. I should have, but I just didn't have a desire to see it. I was surprised. I was worried about it being PG-13 and maybe being a bit too soft, but no, they play a lot with audio, the visuals, so much detail in the cinematography here. A fantastic, well-crafted movie. Christopher Nolan is a masterclass filmmaker, and he never fails to amaze me. He never ceases to amaze me as a filmmaker and just an audience member. Christopher Nolan's films inspire me each time I see it, and I'm more and more impressed with him with each film he makes. Dunkirk is fantastic. Hans Zimmer's score, the dogfighting scenes in IMAX, just everything, how the three different stories combine at this one place, everything being real. Such a well-crafted movie, and also brings another perspective to World War II that we haven't really seen in a while, or seen before in a way. Dunkirk is a well-crafted war film and one of the better films this year. Definitely shows you that there's still quality in filmmaking, and it really kind of shows you, hey, here's what happens when you have a strong story, great visuals, and you don't have to computerize stuff. It's all filmed for real. And that makes all the difference in the world. Number 6 on my list is Split. M. Night Shyamalan returns to form here. Oh my god, James McAvoy gives probably one of the best performances this year as all these personalities, as the Horde. The story of abuse and the different themes in this film are just so intriguing, and it's very multi-layered. It's done in a way of an Alfred Hitchcock movie. It's a horror suspense movie, but it hints at a larger world of like super-powered beings. I won't get too much into it, but the twist at the end is fantastic. Ties into another M. Night Shyamalan work, and I can't wait to see how it all comes together in his future project. Split right now is a fantastic movie. If you have not seen that, I highly recommend it. James McAvoy is just creepy, intense. He's funny, just all these different things. He can be a woman, he can be a OCD, kind of like germaphobe jerk in a way, an artist, or he can be like a 9-year-old kid. Hello, my name's Hedwig. Are you trying to trick me? Etc., etc. Like, just stuff like that is crazy. The scene where he dances in his room, that movie just has so many moments I was not expecting. It's a very simple movie. And again, another film that's very well shot with a strong story, but it's James McAvoy's mesmerizing performance that makes the film truly worth watching. Number 5 on my list is Blade Runner 2049. I was a fan of Blade Runner, but I wasn't in love with it. Now, I had high expectations for this film. Denis Villeneuve is a fantastic filmmaker. I've been a fan of his since Prisoners. He did Sicario. This is a visual masterpiece. There's other films this year that have cost so much money, but with this, the money is on the screen. It's probably the best science fiction film I've seen this decade, and among one of the best uses of visual effects I've seen this year. It would be a travesty if this film doesn't win Best Cinematography at the Oscars. This film is amazing. I can't wait to see what this director does with Dune. But Ryan Gosling is great. In a way, it's kind of like Drive in the future. It has that noir aspect, that film noir aspect. Harrison Ford is not in this film as much as I hoped he would be. They advertised it as a Harrison Ford, Ryan Gosling film. Very driven on those two characters. But Deckard still plays an integral part to the story, and his presence is felt. The original Blade Runner is still in this movie. The presence, the feeling of the film is still in this, and is still integral to the plot. It's not like a sideline thing, no. He's still very integral to this story, but when he does show up, and it's worth it. Everything is paid off at the end. It does feel long, a little bit slow in moments, but I have to say, it's like one of the most expensive art house films I have ever seen. Science fiction one at that. Ana de Armas' performance is great. You have Joy, Love. Jared Leto is crazy. He has limited screen time, but he had a better Joker role in this than in Suicide Squad. And you get a couple of other surprises from the original film in this film. Overall, it is among one of the best films of the year, and it's a visual masterpiece. I love Blade Runner 2049. If you haven't seen the original Blade Runner or its sequel, I highly recommend it. It's on digital now, and it comes out on Blu-ray in January. It's a fantastic film, and among one of my favorites this year. Number 4 on the list is War for the Planet of the Apes. I wasn't sure what to think about Planet of the Apes with Rise of the Apes, but it surprised me, but I really got into it with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. War for the Planet of the Apes? Wow. Matt Reeves does such a fantastic job with this. I can't wait to see what he does with Batman, but Andy Serkis gives one of the best performances of his career as Caesar in this installment. There really should be a special award for him or a consideration for a motion capture performance, because he gives one of the best performances this year as Caesar, the ape. Woody Harrelson, I love him in movies. He can be funny. I thought he was going to be like a caricature of himself or like a cartoon character. No, he's an evil bastard in this, and I hate him. I haven't hated Woody Harrelson this much since Out of the Furnace. He plays such a great villain. You really get to see their motivations and what war does. There's greater themes of humanity, war, and survival in this. And wow, it gets back to the earlier Planet of the Apes movies where there's so many like other civil rights, racial undertones within the ape-human fight in this movie. Such a great movie. Such a great movie. You have the little girl there, ends up being Nova. Maurice is like one of my favorite characters, but then you have Steve Zahn there. He plays such a funny ape. Brings a lot of levity to a really dark and depressing film. I cried 4 times when I saw this in theaters. That ending is powerful. And much like another film on my list, it really is about like the fight for the future, a fight for a population, fight for survival, and much like Moses, it's a journey to the promised land that you may not get to see. And that final scene is just so touching. War for the Planet of the Apes is a brilliant conclusion to the Caesar trilogy. And yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite films of the year. Number 3 on my list is Baby Driver. Baby Driver is a completely original film. Great soundtrack, very Tarantino-esque in a way, but Edgar Wright, he had this idea since he did a music video, and he basically spent like the past 22 years grooming this story. And it's about Baby, has tinnitus, great performances, Jamie Foxx, Isa Gonzalez, John Hamm, Kevin Spacey, Ansel Elgort, and Lily James do such a fantastic job. I love them as Baby and Deborah. The soundtrack is amazing with the editing, probably the best editing. This should get best editing. The car chases are phenomenal. I love it. Everything is steady. A very well done action film. This film is just the epitome of cool. I love Baby Driver, and it's a breath of fresh air to see an original movie that's not a reboot, adaptation, or a sequel. And that's a very rare thing. It is one of the best films of the year. If you have not seen Baby Driver, I highly recommend it. And the soundtrack is awesome. I've been listening to Easy by the Commodores almost every day since that movie. I loved that song before, but that movie made me even love that song more. Jamie Foxx is bats. It's just batshit crazy. John Hamm does a fantastic job. Just everything about that movie is awesome. It is among one of my favorite films of the year. Number 2 on the list is Wonder Woman, a return to form for an origin story done right. Patty Jenkins, instead of going the way of Batman Begins, she goes more the way of Superman the movie with this Wonder Woman origin. A very well crafted story. Is the CGI up there? No. Are certain story elements up there? No. But the performances and the certain themes and journey that Diana takes in this film really make up for it. I love Gal Gadot and Chris Pine's performance in this. Chris Pine is amazing. Yeah, if your name's Steve, don't fly a plane, just like Captain America and Steve Trevor. Like, yeah, just don't. And they both were played by a guy named Chris. Has some twists and turns, some predictable, some not so predictable, but it's an interesting movie. I love the time that's spent on her origin, on Themyscira. You get to see her grow up. And it starts in modern day. The fact that it starts in modern day with a photograph from BVS and then goes back to her origin really makes up for it, and it creates a nice narrative structure. A very well done origin story, and it's about damn time we've had a female hero. Really, this film is just well crafted. I love it. Is it the best superhero movie ever? No, I don't think so, but it's definitely one of the best this year, and definitely one of the best ever. Not the best ever, but definitely up there. It is like in my top 5. Wonder Woman is a superhero film done right. It's not about franchising. It's about telling a story and showing a compelling character that whether you're a man or a woman, you can relate to in some way. And it's just so nice seeing Wonder Woman given justice after 70 years. I can't wait to see where Patty Jenkins goes with Wonder Woman 2. Wonder Woman is up there with Batman Begins, Deadpool, and Superman the movie as far as origin tales. That scene on No Man's Land is just fantastic. Everything building up to that moment is just great. And it's uplifting. It drops the cynicism and brings a level of hope that we've been lacking in superhero movies. It has a humor, but it shows dramatic elements while still being light, while still having that glimmer of hope. And there's that one scene with Steve Trevor where she's like, it's not about deserves, it's about what you believe. And in a time we live in right now, it's great to see a movie and a superhero film bring a level of hope and inspire people. But number 1 on my list, my favorite movie of the year, is still Logan. Logan moved me. There's other movies that are maybe better made. There's maybe better superhero films. But Logan, I have not seen a film that has moved me as much as Logan. I didn't cry at the end. but it just gave me that feeling in my heart where I was just like, wow, that was something. That's the first comic book based movie since The Dark Knight that has done that for me. And in fact, it may be better than The Dark Knight in some way. An R-rated Wolverine, but Hugh Jackman gives one of the best performances of his career, and definitely the best performance as Wolverine. Patrick Stewart is even great as Professor Xavier. He shows us a different side of Professor X. Daphne Keane as X-23 is just badass. My favorite young girl character since like 11. Seriously, 11 and X-23 are just awesome. Not only is this a great fitting conclusion to Wolverine, but it is for the X-Men in this Fox universe. It's a darker end. Did it really change anything from Days of Future Past? No, but it's grounded in reality, and I love that. It shows you what you can do with the superhero genre. It's basically a neo-Western, and I love that. If Wolverine was like a samurai movie, Logan is a Western movie. Take mutants out of it. It's still a compelling story of a man who has given up on living, taking care of a father figure, finds out he has a daughter, and must protect them from these evil men that want her dead. And he has to protect these people. Much like Caesar in War for the Planet of the Apes is a story of Moses, of taking people to this promised land that you yourself are never going to see. And I love that. I love how this character doesn't care, doesn't have anything to live for, and then he does at the end, and he does care for something, and he comes through when he's needed most. I love it. I love that don't give a shit attitude that Wolverine always has, and it is the best movie, or at least my favorite movie of 2017. Logan has not been matched. I was waiting for it to be topped, but Logan is such an emotional tour de force of a movie that gets to me. And I don't know if it's that or the fact that I was 9 years old when I first saw Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in X-Men in 2000. I've seen him play this character for 17 years, and there's just something about him completing this journey that just really gets to my heart deep down. And even with the ending, that final image, great, great. James Mangold did a fantastic job in 3D to Yuma, Girl Interrupted, and then Logan here. A fantastic film where you could watch it as a standalone. You don't even have to have it connected to X-Men or watch the X-Men to enjoy this film. Logan is a masterpiece. Anyway, those are my favorite films of 2017. I didn't get to see as many films as I hoped for this year, but yeah, again, The Disaster Artist probably would have been included somewhere here. Probably in my top 5, if not definitely top 6 or 7. I haven't seen it yet, it's not playing in my theater, but those are just my personal favorite movies. Again, if you didn't hear any movie that you liked, feel free in the comments below. Let me know some of your favorite movies of 2017. And thank you for watching this video. If you like this, click the like button. Again, comment on your favorite movies. And subscribe for more videos. There's going to be a lot more content coming in 2018.